Hey guys, for the extra Sunday content, as well as bonus weekly content on top of that, go to our Patreon link in the description and find the Black Kluge tier or higher and subscribe.
Did it surprise you Allison got remarried as quickly as she did?
Yes, I did.
Did that bother you?
No. I was happy for her. But I was a little surprised.
He was saying goodbye to me, and he leaned in for a kiss, and I smiled so big that he literally kissed my teeth.
So I have admitted that I almost had a homosexual experience when I was young.
Yes.
Some guy came on to me. It was really wonderful, actually, but my mother would never tolerate me being gay.
I got a guy now who's finding out the real names of the occupations of what the people do who bully me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of a fighter, so... it's just interesting when people have their kids on the air.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if a kid was a fuck-up, you just keep them quiet.
I put my kids on the air more, but they want no part of it.
We do another contract here. Well, let's do a 3-hour show. We should be done right now.
Well, you're having this negotiation with me. That's the only problem.
Well, who am I supposed to negotiate with? Fred?
Tell that fat fucking cunt Robin to shut the fuck up. She can't stop mentioning that other fat cunt Butler. They're both fat cunts. They need to die and fine.
I once saw my mother come out of the shower. It traumatized me.
Yeah, I can imagine. She looks like you.
She had some...
Sorry, that just slipped out.
Was you getting into music and guitar and all that stuff? Was that some kind of therapy because you didn't have your father? Listen, there are people who are at a job too long. They're not into it. They can't admit it to themselves.
A picture of you and her looks like a kidnapping. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you see,
This is ridiculous. I was going to look for a Nikki Hilton. But you see, those good-looking rich girls, they don't go for a guy like me because they don't need my money.
Recipe for a perfect date night? Home, dinner, glass of wine, and the bed. Right? What'd you say?
Definitely a bottle of wine.
I said earlier I thought it was kind of weird that Jerry still dyes his hair. Like, when your head becomes that big and, whatever.
You got a little tough to hair.
You think the vanity would go out the window, but no.
I do have issues about people leaving. I want to control everyone in my atmosphere. I am a puppet master, and I want everyone to be a puppet.
But then we had our sex. We went right into this, like even better.
Now, was it different?
It was great because when he was on top of me, I had my hand sticking up and
And she had a very hard orgasm from that.
Because I drive into Manhattan every day and I listen to it, okay? And if you cut out the bitching, it probably would be about an hour of broadcast.
You're right. Do you want to know something? Okay.
Can I tell? And it was like the same date.
Yep.
I find his language so weird too. When I reel someone in, I never miss an opportunity. Do you think like that when you meet somebody? Like, I'm hunting them.
Nowadays there is a dating app. What's it called? Plenty of Fish.
All right. Well,
I guess it's I don't know. I think it's like for women specifically. I'm not 100% sure.
I know one of my
friends
Jake
uses it. She goes with Plenty of Dick.
My gay best friend Jake, I mean, the gay world is way more active in these social media, like hookup sites, and then you never see him again. Okay. He goes on this one, I think it's called, there's Tinder, and then there's
Grinders for the
Grinder. Thank you. Grinder. And he gets lit up, and it's like all the people by you that are willing to do it. And some of these people I know in my neighborhood who are like married guys. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, you'd be so surprised. I go, I am surprised.
Yeah.
I see this person.
Well, I'm just saying, like, who uses these terms when they meet someone they like? Like, I'm going to reel them in. I don't miss an opportunity. It just sounds so like
predatory.
Predatory. Like, I've never said that about a person. Like, I'm reeling them in. I'm not going to fuck up this opportunity. Like, what do you... Oh, it just seems weird to me.
But you guys said during the Layla episode, if he would have just admitted that was what he was doing, then it would have came off better than him feigning this, oh, I'm your friend. Oh, I just thought you were cool. God. So... I think that because
you were cool, man. I thought you were my friend.
So I think like he's admitting this now because he realized in hindsight from the Layla experience, it came off really bad that he didn't admit exactly what he did. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
so
dragged out of him. Thank God for Stuttering John and Gary.
So I think from that experience, he realized, okay, I just have to say, yeah, of course I did this. This is how I reel him in. Because from that previous experience, him denying it and pretending he's some cool kid, asking her over to like look at some fucking VCRs and shit, that didn't work out so well.
I'm just more so on a less deeper level. Like, I don't describe meeting someone as reeling them in or capitalizing on an opportunity. It just seems very weird to me in general.
In Greek, the term for the guys that basically in the every summer, all these hot English wenches, or not so hot maybe, but they're desperate, and they go to the Greek islands and they get nailed by local guys, and those guys call themselves gamakia, and the gamakia is the spear that you use to get the fish in the ocean. So that's what they call themselves, and it's sexist. It's extremely like Cro-Magnon type of way of thinking, but it at least it's honest and funny, I guess. But you're right. There's definitely that level of, well, when I cast my fucking net out and I catch a flounder, I never let that go.
Right.
It's again more recently that whole I invested a lot of money in you. This more recently, there's always these terms of ownership or subjugation, like power imbalance constantly.
Like, what do you want to do? Mount her over the fireplace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much like that. And it also contrasts in the way she was previously describing this as some sort of organic, special, nuanced Howard. So, no, he was trying to reel you in. You're a fish. You're a fucking goldfish. You're a bass.
She's a horse, not a stag. She's not going over any fireplace. Although she might jump into the fireplace pretty soon if this continues at Stalag fucking Squabble Lane.
I'm actually worried she might die from malnutrition after those pictures. I'm not even joking with you, by the way.
I'm not laughing about it either. I think it's incredibly possible that she's gonna just she'll just not wake up one day.
Yeah, there's the malnutrition thing is a real thing. And there are people, hello, Karen Carpenter, you die of your anorexia.
Your heart gives out.
You cannot keep putting your body in this malnourished state for such prolonged periods of time.
Yeah. And did you see on Instagram, what we were talking about, guys, and this won't be a video, so you won't see it, but I'll see if I can add it to the as an upload. A backless dress or mostly backless dress. And it shows her it looks like almost like you see the end of an interrogation video and you see the bruises on someone's back. There's no bruises, but you see bony protrusions, and it's not sexy. It's not a healthy looking body whatsoever.
Is that the one where she's in New York?
Yeah. Recently? Black dress.
Okay, what was that? Why was there?
I don't know.
Of her in a dress. Was she going somewhere? Was she with people? Were they just taking a photo to like trick me that she's going out? Like, it's just a photo of her in like outside in almost like a hallway. Like, it was really weird.
Well, there's always the space-time continuum with her Instagram when you don't know if it's present or if it happened months ago, years ago. You're just not sure. I mean, she does that all the time. But I will say, when you said that it made you think of that, I remember watching footage on YouTube of when the Nazi camps, the Americans came in and they liberated them, and then they made the people in the towns nearby go through and see the horror show, and then you see these Jewish people coming out of the bunkers or out of the train cars, whoever was left, and these profiles of starvation. Yeah. And that so reminded me when I saw her back of similar images, and I was like, this is not normal at all. It's not.
And it gets into like a multi-layer, like we don't have time to get into it now, but one day we will probably do like a bulimia type, like Beth's health episode, because how many times have they talked about she hasn't shit in a month?
Right. But
which she'd be dead if that were really true. We know he's exaggerating, but I'm sure she goes literally a week between shits.
I think,
She's
Bob,
not
I got
eating
it.
enough. Sure.
No. Yeah.
Bob, but I have to ask you though. We see the back in that image, and then we see the collarbone.
Yeah.
And she ate the phone, which really highlights how sickening and malnourished she is. I mean, more so than any other position. She actually highlights this and posts this. What is that saying? Because I would never post a picture of myself like that if I looked that emaciated. So what is she saying?
I don't mean to cut in there, but I'm going to. Sorry, I guess I'm being an asshole. But in my opinion, she believes she looks good. The illusion is Howard wants me to be super thin. This is my way of showing him I'm keeping up my end of the bargain by looking like Karen Carpenter with these fucking clavicles. Like I said, they look like a bento box. And it's sickening, but that's what, and also bulimics and anorexics, they do have that self-image that's completely skewed towards the thin. So the thinner, the better. There is no bad look in this situation. We as normal looking, well, I mean, average looking, normal looking, good looking, bad, the way we look, our bodies look normal. You don't look at any three of us. You look at it and you go, yeah, that's a guy, that's a girl, that's another guy with no hair. Big deal. But you look at someone like that and you go, Jesus Christ.
You're going to be so surprised when I flash my dick at the end of the episode. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I would be surprised by that. But yeah, I think, like I've said before, when we first started the MPD episodes, like at that time, I was the way that I am, like I really like to immerse myself into different, whatever it is, rabbit holes, right? Mm-hmm. And part of the reason why I've tried to get away from it a little bit is because it's not fun to be immersed in that world, like even when you really learn about true psychopathy or other cluster B personalities, like it's such a destructive thing, right? Especially when you're reading about people's firsthand accounts. But one thing I will say that I seem to really see a lot was that narcissistic personality people believe that beauty is defined by your level of thinness. This was a theme I saw very frequently. And a lot of spouses were forced into losing weight through bulimia. Just all types of horrible shit that you would read about. But that seemed to be a pretty common denominator, that their standard of beauty was based off of how thin you can be, rather than health or any of the other normal things that you would look at.
Right.
It always seemed to be this theme of thinness, and they would really be abusive towards their spouses to get thinner and to remain thinner.
Do you think, because being that thin and also trying to combat age doesn't really go well together, because the more emaciated she looks, the more old I think it makes her look.
Well, she's going to get close to Tan Mom's territory.
Right. So I'm wondering, like, how do those images compete? And then so do you think she's posting this stuff because Howard definitely has trained her to, that's what I like, that skinny? Okay.
Well, look at how he is. How much does this guy project about everything? There's nothing he doesn't project about. So if he's that self-conscious about his weight, what do you think he does to her? He
has a diet. When you hear him talk about food, he has a diet of a starving squirrel. It's bad.
Yep.
Perhaps you'd like to see my reel.
He wasn't loud and obnoxious. He was very quiet, and I ended up going up and talking to him, and he was just the most gentle, sweet man I've ever talked to.
Damn.
It was a surprise. And the more I talked
I didn't fart on her.
the more I just wanted him to never leave. He's the perfect man. I'm telling you.
Ladies.
He's a limp dick, lip wrist, fucking like just beta cuck. That's
perfect man. This is like an infomercial, guys.
The other thing
That's
is,
what
like,
I'm telling you. He wrote this fucking thing. He read it the night before, and he was moonwalking. I'm like, kill him tomorrow. I'm the perfect man. She just that.
This is like, Anna Nicole Smith promoting that diet pill. It's crazy.
It sounds like she's reading from. It sounds like she's reading from Hooker Handbook.
The perfect man. And he's not even going, oh my God, she wrote that. That's what I'm saying. If it was real, he'd be like, oh my God, I got to talk to her. She wrote that. He's like, yeah, ladies, listen up. He's like trying to make a joke out of it, but he's like realizing, oh, I fucked up here. Like, people are laughing at this
It
shit.
sounds like a Joe Francis Girls Gone Wild infomercial back in the day. See the hottest co-eds in the most beautiful, perfect tits. Like, the way that they used to do those
comedian.
like long... Yeah.
He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's a perfect man. This guy is the perfect man? Are you fucking for real?
Juxtapose that with the clips of Sal going on the street and asking women to look at Howard's picture.
That was my fave.
We'll
never see that again.
Yeah, the other one goes, is that Imus?
Remember what was that one woman with the accent? And what did she say? She goes,
he's horrible. He's horrible.
Yeah.
She goes, I can't get him away from me.
Yeah. One woman was just straight up traumatized. Oh, she's awful.
It was like looking at a murder scene or a car accident.
Howard should have been included in the question he asked Miss Howard Stern, the first one, Andrea. I don't know if the one Miss Howard Stern, the with the high voice, and he started comparing like people in the studio, and he asked her who's the least repellent.
He's
wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Listen to what the girl's saying. I'm the perfect man.
Oh my goodness!
You can't believe it, right?
Even the person doing the interview goes, "Really?"
You could, Robin. Why?
We can't believe it. And this reminds me of the Ablo thing where he kept saying, "Yeah, we don't fight.
We don't fight.
We're perfect." It was so. It
took a minute to get into. He puts his thing on the carpet.
But it was this like drill, like these mantras that had to be constantly put in her head and his head. We're perfect. We don't fight. He's amazing. He's a comic. He's an actor. He's a genius. I'm so impressed.
And on the other side, she's a polyglot. She doesn't shit. She's beautiful. She's a supermodel. She's hot. She works. She's an earner. All these things that are complete bullshit.
Yeah. What else do you want to toss in? You've been to the moon? You're a physiologist?
Split the atom. I cured polio.
Is it so hard for you to believe that I'm the perfect man?
Oh, please. I know you. There must be
you're in love with me
something
too.
about him. I love you, but I love your imperfections.
Mike, you're on the air.
Robin, one thing I want you to hear is a blast from the past.
Right. If I had a 20-year-old girlfriend, this girl would have meals on the table for me every night, would worship everything I say.
Is that true, Howard?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Listen to this article.
That's right, see?
Now, Robin, why don't you just confess that you love Howard and you can't stand him to be with Beth?
I love that he's with Beth. If that makes him happy, that's how much I love Howard.
You got this sadistic giggle through the whole situation.
She thinks it's funny.
Please, this is hysterical.
This just came to me. Bob won't agree with this because he doesn't believe Howard's gay, but Fillmore, if Robin knew, which we've always said she did, doesn't this make so much more sense in the way she's reading this back?
Yeah.
As some sort of
it's just complete mockery. She's doing what we do.
1,000%. She's reading it exactly like if you and I were to be on the show and we're doing this for the first time and reading this article and this just came out. Yeah. I think that there's some sort of subconscious or conscious knowledge that he's not straight. And so she's reading this fantasy piece in the way that we would read it because we know the truth.
Well, I mean,
she knows. Yeah, she knows Howard's a nightmare. What are you talking about? The perfect man, and like, Who
on
the
that
fuck
level,
wouldn't laugh at that?
well,
I
that,
agree with
on that
you.
level, but in
friend
terms of
if his-
in terms of the whole cocksmanship, like,
Yeah.
oh, he's a good this, he's that, talking him up like he's fucking a young Robert Redford, when he's actually more like a California redwood. And I think that if you go like, it adds an extra dimension for sure, Sam, if you follow that
possibility.
narrative. Yeah, I think so. Like he's good with women, although I have seen him with a dick in his mouth before.
Right. For me, that it's almost like how it reminds me about how Jada Pinkett Smith describes Will Smith when know some fuckery with other dudes went down. I mean, it's all over the place that he fucks dudes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives this same sort of disingenuous, rosy picture when she speaks of him, like he's some sort of sun god or something. It's ridiculous. It doesn't.
She's
compute.
I wouldn't say she's overselling, but it's one of those things where the guy's signing the deal for the fucking new car, and you're still telling him about all the fucking features.
You're even having him on the show and talking to him in his face and saying, I slept with another guy, and calling it what did she call it? She called it a entanglement. I mean, what?
Entanglement. That's what we call it. Okay, fair enough.
It's like a Disney movie.
Yeah. Bob used Disney more recently. He's been using the whole Disney as the go-to reference for how they view their little love story.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
The fairy, Tinkerbell, the Howie Doss, Fairy Doss, same parallels there, man.
And everybody hates mothers in Disney.
Now I'm picturing Mr. Roper. Tinkerbell.
Don't you think this is good for me? I mean, like, it makes it seem like I'm a good catch.
Your resume. Man.
Yeah. In fact,
go ahead.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. He's confused. Don't you guys think this is good?
Right.
Don't you? I wrote this.
Shouldn't this be on my dust jacket of my next book?
Well, I'm more agreeing with Bob now that he read the resume in print and did not. You know when you because I'm an English major, I was always trained in my head. I will write something, but I have to read it out loud back to myself in order to get the desired result of what I'm trying to convey.
Oh yeah.
So Howard didn't do that. Clearly.
Well, he's a total 79 though. Like he also didn't have the presence of the presence of mind as a normal human being, because he's not normal. He's completely the opposite of normal. And he looked at it and go, what would I like to read about someone if I was reading about them? Like if I wanted to create the idealized version of something. But you can't, if you're that detached from reality, then none of this will make sense to the average person, like you, me, and Bob, because normal people will say, I got a belly, my legs are too short, or I got this fucking awful blemish on my neck, something, whatever imperfection, because people are human. It's what makes people more endearing. People say self-deprecation. You can get too much of that. I agree. But in this case, I mean, if this sci-fi novel that she's put together, the same way Robin put her book together.
No, give me a second. The problem is, like, Sam, what you're saying is you're like, normally when you write something out, you go, okay, do you see the point I was doing? So blah, blah, blah. This is my point here. That the problem with when Howard wrote this is that he was talking to the mirror instead of somebody else, right?
Right.
Because if you're like, if you submit this to me and you're talking about whoever, your husband or about you, be like, Sam, what the fuck is this? The perfect man? Or you're like, in his mind, he doesn't talk to other people. He was talking to himself, and he's like, man, I killed it with this. Like,
that's a good point, because you're right. When I read things back to myself that I write, I'm
thinking
listening.
What are other people hearing?
I'm listening to sentence structure, grammatical errors. I'm listening to how can I tighten this up or shorten this or expound on this? You know, I have an idea, but I'm basically working with the same premise. He is reading this and he didn't think that if somebody said he's the perfect man, I'm a comedian, I'm an actor, that the whole context is a lie.
Yeah.
Listen, they this is how these levels of show business work. There's no way that could go out to FHM before Howard saw it, before his agent saw it. But they don't do that. They don't let some bimbo go out and be a mouthpiece for your relationship. They see everything. Right. Everything. If there's ever a verse that's sung on a single that's going to come out, it's heard before it comes out. And on top of that, they'll usually pick who's going to write it and sing it. So they for sure saw this before it made the presses. There's no way they didn't see this.
Sam, would you say offhand, like just slightly off topic, would you say that Robin, when she wrote her book and had to vet it, of course, do you think she put a directive to Judith Regan and said, look, correct the grammar. If there's any grammatical problems, I don't mind that being edited, but I want you to put this out as is. That's my directive.
Well, as a publisher, I'm sure that you always have to worry about being sued. So I'm sure that Robin got some guarantee from her family that I will take care of you for the rest of my life if you let me put out this book.
Oh, I'm 100% on board with that. But I'm saying like she did a Howard thing and she wrote this and read it to herself and said, I sound great in this, even though she doesn't have she just is blinded by narcissism and can't see that it made her look the exact opposite of great.
Right. And I think Judith probably had to prompt her in some aspects to kind of write other things down too, along with this whole egomaniac book. I do think she probably read it and said, listen, you gotta cut in some things here that make you sound less like a fucking maniac, because this is insane. And
you also have to add a molestation angle or something because you're completely unsympathetic.
That's right. Yes.
That
very
shit is dark.
So dark.
I've been listening to the episodes.
Oh,
that is some
Robin.
dark stuff, man. Like she puts it in a context that makes it normal, and you're like sitting there and you're like, this is not even close to normal. Like this is demented shit straight up.
Or she just keeps doing wrong things and upset about the consequence of these wrong things. But then I think she had to add in the molestation tie to make all these wrong things seem okay because they stemmed from this trauma.
Yeah, this so-called trauma.
Think that because if you didn't have the molestation, you would just have an asshole that's basically fucking up all throughout life and not doing what she's supposed to be doing. It's
you still have the
awful.
You still have the asshole, but you're expected to go, yeah, but she was, it's supposed to be the big whiteout. You're supposed to go, yeah, but she was molested, so fuck it, she's fine. That's a pass to be an asshole for the next 70 years. And by the way, I can also stop therapy. It wasn't helping me, and it's fine.
The other thing too with her in race, you're supposed to she's supposed to be presenting this image, and she does that. Despite being black, look at everything I achieved, but then also sympathize with me because I'm black. It's like, what do you want here?
You know what my favorite thing from the recent episodes is she would say on the show she would get a bodyguard and go down in the street and fucking run her mouth and catch beef with people. Like, are you insane? What are you?
Sam said, imagine
you would get shot where I am doing that. Like, it's not exaggeration. You will be shot in the face. Why would you ever? Why do you feel the need to do that? She grabbed a bodyguard and said, all right, let's head out. I'm going to fucking run my mouth to everybody.
Crime is so bad in my city right now. And I think to myself, when I see these crazy people walking around, what would Robin How
Sam,
can you do that? You'd be mugged in 5 seconds. Somebody would punch you in the face in 5 seconds.
What if I came over? I'm like, Sam, let's go outside right now and just catch wreck with everybody on the street. You're like, what the fuck? Why would you even want to do that? Like, how miserable and violent and just insane do you have to be to run on the street and just fucking go nuts on people?
No, I don't believe it was a bit at all, and I'll tell you why. Because
But I know,
she
I'm
clearly
saying it sounds like a bit. Like
It
that
does,
is a
yeah.
radio bit, but it's not. That was her real life.
I don't think it was a bit.
I think I imagine it was actually more like, okay, I need you to come out with me. I have to fucking rant. So she'd go outside the building, stand there, maybe smoke a cigarette, and start screaming. And all of a sudden, people are walking by and like, "What are you looking at, you fucking cunt? Keep walking." You know, and that's the way it would be. It wouldn't be like she'd be seeking out homeless people to just roast.
Like, you know, when I go to Bills games and say we're playing the opposing team and you get a few people that are there and you're standing around a tsunami of red, white, and blue and Bills Mafia, and you're going to be the asshole smoking outside of a bar saying, fuck Josh Allen, fuck the Bills, fuck. You're going to get knocked out. You're asking to get knocked out.
Listen, going on the street and screaming at random people is what homeless people do. And like actual crazy people do that.
Oh,
we're talking early 90s New York. This wasn't the cleaned up, gentrified
This wasn't
version.
gentrified New York. 100%.
That's right.
Good for you.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished. There must be something about him that irritates the heck out of you. There's nothing.
He's the perfect man.
No. They're still in the honeymoon stage, I guess. But everything he does right now is so sweet. Although my mother always says the little things you thought were so cute end up being really annoying. But so far, there's...
Okay. Right there is an indicator. She's using her mother to couch this point in. But I'm telling you, this is her saying, I'm annoyed by something, but I'm going to frame it in a way that's putting this on my mom and kind of foreshadowing that I'm going to be annoyed by certain things. I'm not going to state it in the article now. Everything's perfect. Everything's great. We're all perfect. Nobody has an asshole. Yep. Everything's awesome. Right. You know, we're perfect. I'm in my floofy, fluffy lingerie moo-moos.
He starves me. It's okay. I love being starved.
But my mother said this point. That tells me there's some foreshadowing and some obvious knowledge that she's so hella annoyed by something he does.
Yep.
Maybe, or maybe she's like, I need to make this halfway believable. I know there'll be problems in the future, but there's none now. Everything's great. I don't care that he's a fucking weirdo wig wearing dude. I don't care.
That's right.
One thing.
I think it go either way.
Not even the fact that he has to get up at the crack of dawn. No, I'm on his schedule.
That's right.
People are amazed by that. We go to bed between 8 and 9 every night, and I'm up at 5 with him. I get up and leave when he does, and I go to my apartment and I start my day.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah, because at this point they're supposedly not shacked up, but they are.
And she lives 5 minutes away doing catalog modeling periodically.
With the ceiling that's collapsing, according to him.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll let her go back.
Fucking crazy. So she's saying, I'm on his schedule. Yeah. Well, if you're a career model for real, you wouldn't be on his schedule. No. Do you think Kendall Jenner is like saying no to New York Fashion Week or Paris or whatever? This is lunacy.
It's a nice schedule.
Please.
That's the way we get to see each other. Wayne, you're on the air. Wayne.
Yeah.
You're on the air.
Hey, Howard, man, I got to tell you. Not only does she have a bad personality, she looks terrible.
What?
She looks terrible in the magazine. I mean, you talk about John Kane.
Please.
You know, they should put her in a cage and poke some sticks at her.
Oh, you didn't even get the magazine.
Right. How did you...
He's
Calling her a
just
zoo
stick her in a
animal.
cage.
Family react when you told them you were dating the king of all media. My mother was appalled.
Mother hung up the phone on her.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, my
She said,
God.
Mother, I've met the most amazing man, and you're not going to believe who it is. Then I told her, and she was mortified. But that was before she met him.
Her mother's like, Tony Curtis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute. So I really know that she said this about her mom hanging up the phone, whatever. I think that actually did happen. And because she just said, my mother always said the little things that you find annoying, I think that they had a conversation about him, and she probably presented to her mother, these things bother me about him. Like, there's a little things. There's a few things. And so she probably said to Beth, the things that really annoy you, they're going to really bother you going forward if you don't address it now.
She loves him now.
Yeah, a lot of moms have a bad reaction to me.
Are there disadvantages to going out with someone as famous as he is? I hate sharing him. That's the hardest part about being with a celebrity of his status. When we walk down the street, it's not just a normal walk. Nothing is normal.
That implies that she's possessive of him, and that lends more credence to your theory, Bob, that he wrote it or he had it written out, because that's how he would be. I don't want your time. I don't want your time occupied with these other people. I know I can't, like, there's more recently those Instagram fucking interrogation videos, which we're going to make a series out of at one point, but we're not going to be stupid enough to put it on fucking YouTube. The whole narrative of, she's this attached to him, but meanwhile she spent how many years like going to these fashion parties and leaving him, and he'd go like, well, I'm going out,
But Fillmore, add this dimension, like we said about the gay angle.
Yep.
You are with Ralph, okay? Beth has always said she loves when Ralph's around, that they're like two girlfriends hanging out and mocking Howard for his little quips.
Yep.
So don't you think this is also a little dig at Ralph, too, saying she's so possessive of me. She doesn't want to share me. Like, don't you think there's some sort of little quasi message to him kind of saying, like, look I have this going on?
Maybe. I mean, like as Bob has said many a time, meta communication. And I think if the right people are reading the article, and even Ralph, like even if he's not learned, he's not trained in psychology, he can read between the lines when he reads certain things and know that this is meant for me, this is meant for so and so. Because if they have each other's ear, and we know he does, that that's the one outlet Howard can go to where it's always going to be kept in confidence, as far as we know. Because Ralph, the amount of stuff he knows, more stuff would have come out. Because I used to think Ralph would easily sell a story to the Enquirer for a couple grand if he thought he could get away with it.
But I think that they've been in this long-term tit-for-tat relationship, and I think they both do these things where they try to make each other jealous, whether it be Ralph did it with Sam Simon. Now you see in this article, he doesn't like me spending time with anybody else. Well, who's the only person Howard spends time with? Do you guys know anybody else he spends time with? No.
Well, this is the thing. Do grifters grifting on the same person have an appreciation for the other grifters' game, or do they feel like you're horning in on my action? And like in this case, no. Ralph goes, I take care of his sexual needs. Beth takes care of Grandpa walking down the stairs or walking off a sidewalk. So we're perfectly suited. We're just
they're like sister wives.
Marcy Turk is a work thing.
They're like sister wives.
Yeah.
I think this is just what Howard wants to hear. She wants me. She needs me. She's possessive of me. Either that, or she knows that he's a total fucking beta and he's her bitch. And I've seen him get possessive over that before. Like women that are manipulating guys like that. Mm-hmm. But I think this, again, is just what Howard wants to hear, because remember that game or whatever, we did the one thing and he's like, so if I were to have a threesome with somebody, who would it be or whatever? She's like, Angelina Jolie. He's like, why the fuck would you say her? Don't you want me to be with an ugly girl? So I don't, because he, in his mind, he needs to believe she wants me. She doesn't want anybody else talking to me. She doesn't like, it's fucking illusion shit to me.
And even more so because if you contrast this dynamic to Allison, where he was like, let me do my own thing. Don't ask me about anything.
No.
Don't tell me, I'm not going to tell you. And she was dismissive too. Like, I don't care anymore either.
Didn't give a fuck.
So you compare that relationship and seeing how he was like acted towards her. And now he's kind of saying the opposite, saying, I like that you're possessive. I like that you are putting this picture out.
Yeah.
So that's another weird thing.
Yep.
And I hate it when people.
Oh, sorry. What's
Can I
that?
run
I was
to the
going to ask.
bathroom?
Yeah. I was going to say you need a break, or should we stop it because we have 10 minutes left, and I don't think we can get through that. There's no way we're going to.
All right, we can do it.
I don't know. I don't know what your guys' time limitations are.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Okay. Go. Yeah. Go ahead then, Bob. Sure. God. I think I said Sam said something like, what did you say? What if I took Mia out and started screaming at people? I said, you take Rick along and start tasering people that go after you as you're screaming at them. My God, that Robin stuff. I'm listening to some of the intern things that they're talking about, like the no, not interns, but assistants. Assistants is the key word, personal assistants. And there's some section of the wrap-up show, God bless the wrap-up show, where they're saying the assistants often didn't know what to do because Robin wouldn't instruct them. Then she'd get pissed off because they couldn't figure out what to do.
Yeah, she's like King Charles with the pen on the desk and like shooing her. She's like, what? I'm supposed to move this? You guys, you said in the one Kayla episode, I wrote to you about this, that there was this episode where it was like all of a sudden Robin's assistant wasn't there anymore. So that got me in my head thinking, let's do an episode about all of Robin's missing assistants and intern abuse. That's a good idea.
Oh, wait.
Isn't it?
I want to say something. To add to that, there's a guy that calls in that was with a driving service.
We cover. Yeah.
She's like, what company are you with? He's like, oh, I don't know, Buter car. She goes, oh yeah, like she knows, I cut up on those motherfuckers. I abused a couple of those. She's like, she didn't even fight it. She's like, oh yeah, I fucked a couple of those guys up. That was another funny part in it.
She was so guilty. She might as well have been Prince Andrew in that whole interview where he was saying he doesn't sweat.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
She goes, yeah, I know you guys. I fucked you dudes up.
I'm a total fucking nightmare.
That was amazing because Howard would have denied that till the fucking cows came home.
They're different, man. She's sociopathic, that chick.
Watch the show. They know him.
See,
they
ladies,
don't know him at all.
I'm such a great guy. It's very hard to date me because you're going to have to share me with the world.
Talking, selling. He's not even embarrassed or denying it.
Did anybody see JFK Jr. do something like this? I mean...
There's a great line coming up, man.
Yeah.
A great line. Yeah.
About the advantages of dating a Howard Stern. The single best thing about going out with Howard is that we get courtside seats to the Knicks.
Yeah, we loved it. Damn.
First of all, he asked, "What's the best thing about dating a Howard Stern?"
Yeah.
Like it's a type, a category. And the best thing is getting courtside seats. This is like a one-off episode of Sex in the City. You know how they always had like that one episode where, it's the guy who's got the too small penis or the guy with the big penis or, the too short guy or whatever the case was, the quirk.
The guy that's all about jazz. Everything's jazz oriented.
Right. It's a one-off episode. That's what this sounds like. This is the guy with the courtside seats.
Well, he said, okay, let's see if I got this right, because everybody get your Valentine match cards ready, and jot this down. Dear Beth, I love you because you're tall. Dear Howard, I love you because we get courtside Knicks tickets. I mean, this is your
and
love
you're
story.
Perfect. And you're a comedian and an actor.
I think Chevy's toast was perfectly appropriate.
Honestly, it was an improvement.
Yeah. And it was a little more accurate, it was closer to life. A guy fucking Howard in the ass instead of...
And giving him herpes? Yeah, I totally...
Anal herpes.
That's right. By the way, she says she was misquoted on that because they said to her, what are some of the good things about dating, Howard Stern? And she said, well, like, you...
No, you don't know, but...
You don't know. You're right. He's upset because they laughed at it, and now he's trying to spin it. Bob, you disagree?
Oh, I don't disagree at all. I don't even understand Howard, what was taken out of context? What could possibly be taken out of? They said, "Hey, is there anything good about dating this fucking lurk?" Yeah, we go to a Knicks game here and there. Like, what was taken out of context exactly? What was she? Oh, she was gonna go into the theory of relativity.
Right.
They took it out nebulous. Of context. She was gonna weigh in, but yeah, you went to a Knicks game. That's the context. There was nothing. Yeah. She wasn't misquoted. She's not fucking, like you said, JFK. Like
JFK Jr.
What was she misquoted on, bro? Nothing. She said you guys go to a Knicks game here and there.
And then if you're gonna save yourself and say they left out this part, okay?
Right.
Just say, you better have something ready to go, not this fumpering.
Oh yeah, totally.
Do you have any perks dating her? Oh yeah, we went to a Knick game the other night. It wasn't like the good thing about dating me is going to a Knick game.
Yeah, stupid. You just repeated what she said. She said we go to a Knick game every once in a while. You go, well, it was taken out of context. What she said was we go to a Knick game every once in a while. Like, you just repeated what she just allegedly said, you fucking idiot.
Here's what happened. He couldn't come up with something, so then he changed the premise and said, no, they asked her something different. So do you think for 5 seconds, any journalist or whatever or editor is going to hear the interview in an audio, right? A tape recording, and then they're going to change the question and she's going to give that answer? Do you think they're going to sign off on that? And Howard wouldn't get infuriated if they actually did that? He would sue them or something.
There are also two different strength questions. One of them, say, if the question was, what are some of the perks of dating a Howard Stern? That's as bland a question as possible. You want to get more personal, and you would ask, "What's the best thing about dating Howard Stern?" It's a better question. It's stronger. It's
and it's in line with the other questions.
Absolutely.
It's in line with how it was going with the interview.
Right.
What are the perks?
We know what the fucking perks are of dating someone who's massively rich. It's a stupid question.
Yeah, what could be taken out of context? We go to the Knicks. Every once, like,
I like
what
to be
was
seen.
taken out of?
I like to be photographs. I like to be photographed in my hideous outfits courtside.
We go to the Knicks sometimes, and Howard hides behind the seats because he's terrified of black people. But I sit there and I watch the game, right?
And I don't lust after any of the players and wonder how they are.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. Not at all.
No.
I haven't asked any of them for their number.
Yeah.
They have this in quotes. Recently, he invited my brothers to come too, and it was the greatest thing, just the highlight of my life.
Yeah,
the highlight of your life is bringing your brothers to the Knicks.
Well, they have a weird relationship.
Yeah, well, it's going to get into this interview when she's just saying, "I don't really have friends. Growing up, I hung out with my brothers."
But it also looks you watch that slideshow that they put out that got leaked on I guess it was her mom's Facebook page, and it was that feel the sun.
That all pictures Howard took, with this washed out shitty sepia setting.
Summer day. But all those pictures were very creepy.
they were extremely creepy. And if guys, we're going to go through it at one point, and that's one that could be a good Patreon episode where we just go through the shots and then look at just examine them. Not just the fact that he's a shitty photographer, but the emphasis is on the guys. And the guys picking up Beth and making it look like they're going to have their way with her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It made it look like some of those photos were engagement photos. Like if you didn't know that they were related and you looked at some of the pictures of Beth and her brothers, you would swear to God that was an announcement of an engagement of somebody.
It looked like a cuck threesome photo shoot.
Yeah.
It's like a cuck, but sorry, let me rephrase that. A cuck, what did I say? A cuck threesome incest photo shoot.
Yeah, it was like a back page ad for Honcho magazine. Possible tryst.
Yeah, it would have been in Screw magazine with Al Goldstein.
Great time.
It's also great for getting reservations in restaurants.
That's right.
I call and I say, I need a reservation for 2, and they say we're fully booked. Then I say, well, I'm actually calling for Howard Stern.
This is embarrassing.
And they say,
yeah.
See you.
You think? You are seriously Beth is so stupid that she's talking about basic celeb perks that everybody knows. You go to the Emmys, there's a gift tent, and you're going to get a bunch of free swag. Everybody knows if you're the date, you're going to get the free swag. You're going to get first in line. You're going to have the Birkin bag if it's on a wait list. Like, this is what celebrities do. Everybody subconsciously knows this, but they don't talk about it.
Well, it reminds me of, there's an Elvis story where Joe Esposito, his road manager, was in the suite with him in Vegas, and Joe called down to front desk and he said, "It's Joe." And then Elvis was in the room playing cards with someone. He started laughing silently. He goes, "It's Joe," like Big Joe, you know. And then there was a silence, and then she goes, "It's Joe in the suite." And then there's more silence. He goes, "It's Joe in the suite with Elvis."
But it's like, to me, this is such petty bullshit.
Yeah.
Of all the answers you could give, like, I could get in a restaurant and I could go to a Knicks. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can do that. Like, why aren't you saying, like, it's just nice to be able to live comfortably, or it's nice. You're like, I can get restaurant reservations. This is just such shallow shit. It's such shallow shit.
But here's what this interview sounds like to me. Okay. Say, for example, I fucked Howard and went out with him twice. And then I gave an interview to a magazine, like to give gossip. Yeah. And this is the kind of thing you would say. Oh, we got into a restaurant right away. We sat courtside for the Knicks, and then I never talked to him again. This is the kind of interview you give to like gossip magazines to give yourself a boost in profile. This isn't somebody you date. This isn't somebody long term that you date that gives this kind of interview.
Hell no.
It's an article from Mouthy Hooker Monthly. You know,
right?
Mouthy Hooker.
Well, I mean, like and the Lila interview is not much different. Oh, we had Nobu delivered. You know, it was all the trappings. It really wasn't about. We talked a little bit about the kids. You know, it was a very
but
she didn't low key it.
She wasn't bragging about it. She's like,
she wasn't.
This lame ass move where he got Nobu. Like, I haven't seen that before. I know that move. Like, Beth is actually into it because Beth has never probably experienced shit like this.
Of course not.
Know? She's Lila's had that a billion times. This is Beth's first time having this treatment.
But this kind of interview you would give if, for example, you were like, you know, the guy that Ashton Kutcher slept with in that hot tub that broke up the relationship with Demi Moore, or the interview that the stripper who originally broke up Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez gave. This is that type of interview where your clout and your brag comes from not being with them, but telling on the experience that you had for the short amount of time. This isn't a girlfriend. This is not a girlfriend interview.
The other thing is blowing holes in their own narrative again. If she was a model for 20 years of any kind of notoriety, is this the first time she's getting comp tickets somewhere to go somewhere like high end, or you know, where she's getting flown somewhere, whatever? If you're that model, if you're this, you know. No, then you would have done. So you know what I mean.
And
That's
plus,
the
if you're in
standard.
Europe, if you're in
You're a
Europe,
model, yeah, you date guys like this, fucking
Constantly.
money, yeah, Knicks tickets. Are you kidding
Right.
me? I
Right.
could
She's
get
had like
Knicks
she's
tickets,
had a mile of fucking Saudi dick in her mouth, and she's
Right.
seen fucking personalized jets. What do you call it, Gulf Streams, and she's been to wherever the fuck on someone else's nickel, if that's the case.
well,
Dude,
as she said,
yeah.
she modeled in Europe. So if you live in Europe too, you have for all those years that she's sane and did all these jobs and was a successful model that paid her own way, okay, and spoke
Yeah.
different languages, she would have a different understanding of what is tactful and what is interesting in a relationship. There's a cultural shift that happens, especially when you become more worldly, as she pronounces that she has, because she's lived this life, but she's impressed with courtside
never
seats and her
has.
fucking, I mean, like, that's not what
She
somebody would
never-
say.
She's never lived this kind of life.
You're not
because a chick-
saying that if you lived in Europe for 6 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A
What's
chick
the best?
who's lived that it would not be impressed by that and would not date Howard.
I keep expecting you to say. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, I'm a nobody. I can get courtside seats to the Bulls. I know the guy that does the whole music and production, and I could get Nobu delivered. I'm a nobody. That means nothing.
I keep expecting her to say, what's the best thing about dating Howard? 2 words, honey. Indoor plumbing. Like
He is a water heater.
right.
Here's something. Like
Garbage
one time
disposal.
in my 20s, when I lived in Arizona, I made out with Matt Leinart. He's like I don't know. He was a quarterback or something.
He was. I don't know if he made.
I
mean,
think
he was a professional.
he was a quarterback for the Cardinals, but he was like not the quarterback for the Cardinals. He was like the second string because he was really good in college, but then sucked in the NFL, whatever.
Yeah.
So like I would tell my friends this story
Mhm.
but I never saw him again, and that's the type of story that Beth is telling.
Yeah.
Like
I got you.
she's telling she's telling this sort of like what you do the next day when you're hungover and you call your girlfriend, you're like, you're never going to believe this. I got courtside seats, made out with Howard Stern. I'm never going to talk to him again. That's what it is.
Right. I got you.
Hey, man, can I say that?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care what you say.
I may do that tonight.
They might throw you out when you don't show up with me.
That's really nice, I must say, and I'm really spoiled with it. And he gets so much free food.
That one made me laugh because that totally busts him. He gets that fucking Nobu shit for free for plugs. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
even hear different.
You guys said that in that Layla episode, and I go, yeah, that's definitely a possibility, I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. I forgot that she said this. This cements it. It's just, it's the celebrity, they have all the money in the world and they don't have to pay for anything. Their clothes,
That's
their
the
food.
irony. Yeah, they get all the
so
shit that they can
sick.
afford. And these gift bags from the Academy Awards, which used to include like flat screen TVs and gold and fucking, all spa trips across the world and all this shit.
Oh,
and like,
I have a store out here. If Kanye West plugged my store, he'd never have to spend a penny in there. Like, because that it's just that much power. Like, if you put me on his Twitter or whatever, he wouldn't spend a cent in my shop ever.
Well, I understand it, but it's, the
It's sickening.
unfairness is sickening.
Yeah, it is.
We always feel bad.
Jesus.
Artie's getting to him.
See, he doesn't want that out there. He did not want that out there,
Artie's
that he
getting
gets fucking comped.
Yeah, and he said and then she said, we always feel bad. So that's how you know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I think it was Artie going, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
It's a combo, definitely.
I pushed it too far. My illusion got too big.
Yeah.
I'm so cool. I get free Nobu.
Yeah.
Know who you're seeing? Yeah.
I was burned at the cross.
I think I'm a lot more interesting to people once they find out. I never know what's genuine when I'm with him. That's unsettling, but I have grown to accept that I have fun with it. And I do. I'm proud to be his girlfriend. Do people try to knock you out of the way to get to it? Oh, yeah. Women come up to him and completely block me out, like I'm not even there.
That's bullshit. No women are jumping up to him unless they're other grifters looking for a payday.
Okay, here's what I have to say to that. It depends on the situation, and if people don't know who Beth is, then maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because people are excited fans, and he had a huge following back then, especially if you looked at any of those videos of his book signings and stuff. But there's always security around, and if it was laid out to the security, this is my girlfriend, I'm pretty sure they would keep that at bay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that fucking fairy tale at all.
But what did she say? She's having like an identity crisis. She's like, people find me more interesting because I'm dating.
Yeah. Like, I'm more intriguing. Basically, she's saying people know who I am now because I'm dating him.
Right. Yeah. This is like, my platform has been elevated.
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll be dancing and women come right in front of me and try to, do whatever they want to do with him.
Where are these two dancing?
Oh, God. Just look at that. Was it the Katie Couric show?
That's a funny point.
The GIF?
Did you see them?
Beth corkscrewing on the View or wherever it is.
Dancing.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. They're not doing a mamba. Some like Harlem Club.
Howard always grabs my hand and pulls me in and introduces me as his girlfriend.
But not for the last 3 years that we've been dating.
I love Robin's voice. Always introduces me as his girlfriend. I mean, this sing-songy, taunting tone is getting more pronounced, and it is fucking awesome. Robin, I hate you, but right now, hats off.
Her finest moment.
Yep.
For sure.
Is there anything you can't do together in public? We can't go to any public place without people just yelling and screaming and asking for his autograph.
This sounds like complete science fiction. In New York especially, maybe guys are yelling Baba Booey, that kind of shit, but they're not crowding him and they're not fucking rushing him. It's New York.
He doesn't leave his place.
Unless Marianne was stalking them. Like, Marianne.
Yeah, of course. So...
The love letter.
Well.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Did you hear that line? Artie goes, this sounds like a love letter.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's like calling him out. Like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous, man.
This is bullshit.
You've gone too far with this. This is a love letter, man.
It's a love letter that
to yourself.
To yourself.
That you play
You're
a prank
comedian and actor.
You play a prank on someone at school and you say it's from a secret admirer, and you write a letter and you put it in their desk and you say signed your secret admirer. That's what this is.
It's worse. What if you wrote it for yourself and put it in your own desk?
What if your
send
letter
yourself
said
flowers?
What if your letter said, hey, you're a brilliant actor and comedian? You go, who the fuck wrote this? Like,
what if you're in grade 2 and it's Valentine's Day and every Valentine in the thing says, dear me, I'm so happy to be Valentine. Signed me.
He said he grabs her hand and goes, this is my girlfriend. What the fuck are you, 10?
Yeah.
Oh, he's Jan Brady with George Glass.
Yeah.
It's an imaginary.
He's a little girl. This is his little girl fantasy, man.
Yeah,
this is his little. He has so many fantasies. He got beat up in high school. He wasn't beat up. No guy that was beat up would have these fantasies about my girlfriend. Oh, we're about to get into the good one, the all-American girl.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Pretty soon it'll be I met her at the Peach Pit and whatever bullshit.
I know. Mr. Belding tried to break us up.
Lila was Emily Valentine burning down my apartment.
I hate AC Slater.
I'm so fucking laughing. Sam goes, where the fuck are they dancing? Could you imagine that scene? Where are they dancing?
I don't know. It has to be worse than that video with Mick Jagger and fucking David Bowie.
David Bowie dancing in the street.
Dude, that would be such a weird scene.
Maybe closer to Billy Squire, Rock Me Tonight.
Two skeletons cutting up a rug.
Totally.
D, the I, the D, the D, the Y.
Bill, you're on the air.
It's the H, the O, the W.
Well, let Bill talk. Go ahead, Bill.
Robin, please stop. Really, I'm getting sick at my desk right
Me too. I don't want anybody reading this.
It's ridiculous. You whipped. It's not even funny.
Why am I whipped? I
You
didn't.
brought your girlfriend to Vegas. You brought your girlfriend.
I have a
Vegas.
great time with her.
To Las Vegas. If Stuttering John brought his girlfriend to Las Vegas, he would have been on the air. You would have had him on the air, ripping him a new a-hole. You bring him to Vegas.
Because Stuttering John, when he does his gigs, can do whatever he wants.
It's so true. Howard hated anybody that he paid them so little and made them do so much work to the point where they couldn't have personal relationships and successful ones. And then if they did get one, he would do his best to try to, nuclear bomb that shit by embarrassing them.
Yeah.
He's straight up aborting mission now. Oh, this is embarrassing for me. He's like, all right, Artie's laughing at me.
Callers calling.
Robin's laughing. Callers are calling in. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, I don't want this red. 2 seconds ago, you were just selling us on it, bro. Now you don't want it red.
I don't remember if it's this caller or another caller who sent a picture of you and her. It looks like a kidnapping.
It's the next guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you are so whipped.
In his defense, he didn't bring her the whole time.
I brought her after the show was over.
You 3 years ago, you were saying if this was somebody else.
All right, I'm a bad dude because I took my girlfriend and banged her in Vegas. Okay, that's bad.
Sure, you and her looks like a kidnapping. It's ridiculous.
It does. It's so bad.
And honestly, who the fuck would take their girlfriend to Vegas? Who would do that?
I don't Well, I mean, if you're going with your wife or your girlfriend, it's just you two. It makes perfect sense. But if you're going with a bunch of guys, like I remember a few years ago, not a few years ago, probably like 8 years ago now at this point, a little less, me and a bunch of the guys I know that we do stand-up comedy, we went out of country for a gig. And one of them, unfortunately, his now wife, but then girlfriend, decided she wanted to tag along, and he didn't have any reason to not bring her, and he couldn't violently say like, no, you're not coming. She didn't understand. That's the guy's weekend. Nothing happens. We do comedy, we get drunk, and then we, talk about the fucking gig the next day, and it's what comics do, And we're not comics. I'm not saying I'm Shuli, but she didn't understand. That's a guy's trip. That's a guy's. You're not supposed to go.
I'll tell you one thing. I've been to Vegas like 12 times, and when I was with the person I was with that I lived in Arizona with, if you're dating someone, and I've been there single too, if you go to Vegas with your boyfriend, you will fight, and it will be terrible. It's because you both want to do. It's this atmosphere of debauchery that necessarily isn't conducive to a committed relationship. No offense, but the times that I had the most fun was when I was single with my girlfriends. Not when I'm
not fun to go with somebody else.
It's not.
It's Sin City for a reason.
And even if you're not going and talking to girls, like I've been there. I had one of my best friends lived there for over 10 years. I know if I was out there gambling the way that I was and my girlfriend was with me, why are you spending that? Blah, blah, blah. No, this is why you don't come with me out here. But I'm just saying, I guess Howard's not going out and having fun that way anyway.
He's dancing, Bob.
Oh, yeah, it's new to me. I'd love to see a video of that, but yeah, I guess it's not a big deal for him to bring Beth because he's not having fun anyways. I don't even know why he went there, but it is a good point. Why
they start playing Ja Rule, and he's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
All right, this is ridiculous.
This article is
First of all, I'm very youthful looking.
Youthful looking?
Yeah.
You're 42.
Yeah, come on.
Give me a break.
On Christmas Day, she continues, we were walking down Fifth Avenue to see the tree at Rockefeller Center, thinking it would be a normal walk on Christmas Day. And there was a paparazzi photographer taking our picture.
True.
Made people look to see who it was, and they started asking for autographs. We ended up going back home and ordering a movie and Chinese food. We had high hopes of being outside all day.
You know, it's got my Christmas.
We just couldn't do it.
Why is that a bad thing?
It is a bad. Here, I'll tell
Listen
you.
to him. Listen. Why? This is good. Listen to him. Listen to him.
It's a bad thing because, again, this reminds me so much of Hilaria Baldwin. She used to start saying right when she started dating him how the paparazzi was nonstop hounding her. But yet she seemed to always be in positions where she was putting herself in front of cameras.
Yeah, they love that shit.
Doing yoga poses in the middle of Midtown. So
this is what I'm telling you. He's not embarrassed. He's going, why is this bad? Why is this bad? This is good. You're so fucking stupid, dude.
I'm not
You don't
fucking
realize-
Ralph. Look at this woman.
Caitlin and I did the Ed Bradley thing where he was like, we were looking around and was like, maybe we got to make a walkthrough maybe we're going to walk by for the paparazzi. Maybe we should do this. What?
That
Well,
Ed
do you remember-
Bradley thing is so good, man.
Yeah,
we're going to be finishing hopefully the second part this week.
I wondered if we got special tickets or that. What?
There's a new different entrance.
What's to go to a funeral? Go ahead, Sam.
It's hideous. It's so hideous. It shows exactly who they are as people. They're horrible.
Both of
people.
Bro, let me get you box seats, dude. This
She'll give you in the balcony.
You get a hot dog and a beer.
Do you want to be behind the casket or in front of it?
Yeah, here's a program. Who's the opening act tonight?
Yeah, bro.
When's the intermission?
There's bouncers there.
Keep it private. This is ridiculous. If this was any other celebrity and they had this article, forget it. You'd be all over their tail.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe, well, that's true.
You know, he's got a point.
He's got a point there. All right.
I got to read this article. We would jump all over this if it was somebody else.
All right, but so go ahead, jump on me.
Has being involved with a superstar changed
I didn't
your
write that.
opinion of
Why are you saying? No one asked you if you wrote it. You just said I didn't write that.
Why are you telling on yourself, dude? You're telling on yourself.
Totally.
Superstar.
Are you Mary Catherine Gallagher?
So what kind of life that is? Yeah, the whole celebrity thing is really hard for me.
Oh.
Very insecure. When I'm out with Howard, I feel that people are seeing all my faults.
I think that's very nice.
I'm very insecure. So if someone's staring at me, I think they're thinking I'm fat or that Howard could do so much better.
So that's a very honest thing to say.
No.
Listen to him. Listen to him sell it.
I guess we got our answer why she has a soup bowl in the middle of her neck between her chest right now.
It's a dog bowl.
It is the large soup at Panera Bread.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how emaciated she looks. And now we got our answer. It's because she's a fucking neurotic mess and he makes her feel this way. And
Absolutely.
the whole thing about her height, and that's the thing he loves. That's the thing I love most about her. I guarantee you her height was an insecurity for her too.
Probably.
Yeah. And well, look, how many times do we said in that one show where he goes, I didn't know, I didn't know, I was auditioning, I was trying out girls, like you're trying on fucking leg warmers to see which one looks best, fucking Coco. And all of a sudden, how did I look with this one? We didn't look right together. I mean, what does that have to do with anything if you're with somebody?
Nothing.
No, like what you look like have to do with how you get along with that person in terms of right.
Dude,
so just like Tom Cruise never looked right with any woman. So I mean, Howard's not going to look normal with anybody, man or woman. So.
Dude,
I mean,
I'll tell you this right now. She said, it takes a while to get used to celebrity culture.
Right.
Okay, I know Chicago is not New York or LA, but I tell you this right now. Beth could walk down Michigan Avenue, the whole street. No one will know who the fuck she is. I promise you. No one will know who she is. And possibly Howard could walk down those streets. Someone posted a photo in the group of his book in Columbia University, and it had been sitting there for so long it was actually sun bleached.
Yeah.
Did you see that photo? Like, I honestly think Howard could walk downtown Chicago and
at this point.
Very recently, there's a Apollo show where the Pearl Jam played, and it must have been a Sirius XM promo concert. Because, Gary was there, his son was there, and Robin, they were all next to each other, and maybe Ross Zapin further off. I couldn't quite tell. And Eddie Vedder addresses Robin from the stage, and Raven thinks it's like a Make-A-Wish thing, and Robin doesn't have much longer. And based on some of the pictures I've seen of her, I don't think she's got much longer left in her. But that's neither here nor there. The thing was, though, that Christ, now just my train of thought is just completely. We were talking about
celebrity
notoriety. Yeah, that was it, notoriety. So here's the point. He mentions Howard, and there's like one audible cheer, like from one person, more than a few boos, but mostly nothing. No reaction. And this is a Sirius XM gig with mostly Sirius XM people.
Right.
I'm not exaggerating. I think Howard Stern could come downtown Chicago and walk around. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I don't think anybody would approach him.
No.
I don't hear about him. No one is a fan of his out here.
No.
I think he could walk around freely.
Well, it doesn't help that he completely failed in Chicago anyway, Sam.
Here's what I think. Beth saying this about, again, we have to take ourselves back to 2002. There was no social media, okay? So everything was in the hands of publicists getting it into print on magazines and gossip rags in the grocery aisle, basically, to get what you wanted to say out. And the internet had their, web pages, but there wasn't a Perez Hilton back then, and it just was different.
Yeah.
So when you feigned like you don't want to be famous, but you keep trotting yourself out to get photographed.
Right. They want to be.
They want to be photographed, but they have to pretend like they don't like it, and it's such a bother to them. And here's the other thing.
Right.
Now, when you say that nobody will cheer for them or nobody would care, that's right. And I think that's for most celebrities, unless they're super, super famous, like a Tom Cruise or, I don't know.
An influencer.
Like a huge deal, like somebody who's almost, been famous forever or something.
Yeah.
Besides that,
Right.
I don't know about that one, but besides that, though, it's because social media, these celebrities now put themselves out there for our viewing all the time. So we don't have, when we see them in person, nobody really cares that much anymore because we see them every fucking day on our screens. And back then, you only saw them on 60 Minutes, Barbara Walters special, Dateline, whatever the fuck, Larry King. So it was special. So when you did see them in person, it was different. You would be excited.
Didn't we read a blind from not even a year ago where it said she got upset because there were no paparazzi around for some appearance, so she had to call to make sure that they were set up to appear somewhere?
They were in LA. They were opening the Sirius XM studio, even though it opened way before then.
Yeah.
And the first night that they were out, not one paparazzi snapped their picture. So the next night, Beth, according to the blind item, called TMZ and the Paps to have them wait out of Craig's, that restaurant, which, by the way, it's like going to the Olive Garden. If you don't want to be photographed, don't go to that restaurant. Like, it's the chain of paparazzi photograph restaurants.
Yep.
I've stared at her for a while. I never thought she was fat.
Did any experience with a previous boyfriend prepare you for dealing with this?
Oh, no, Howard is the best. He's just so special. Nobody's like Howard.
No, she dated a
celebrity.
Yeah, she dated a famous guy.
He was a guy who was on Broadway, so it was
Broadway,
much lesser experience.
That's actually telling. Like, you dated a guy on Broadway. I'm not saying that he's gay, but I'm saying,
that adds more to the
I don't know
factor.
any Broadway people. I couldn't name you one Broadway actor.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I mean, it's one. That's a whole other. That's a whole other world.
Who impregnated Sarah Jessica Parker for real?
Good question. Maybe Nathan Lane.
Who was it? Was it Peter Allen?
Was it Liza Minnelli's fiance?
But people came up and asked for his autograph and things like that. Has being rocketed into this level of celebrity changed you? I am more aware of what I wear now when I'm walking down the street. I never really cared about that before, and I'm not one to wear...
She's almost 30. This isn't like... This sounds like something I would say when I was 16.
Yeah.
You are insane if you're saying this.
Yeah, definitely teen mentality.
Shallow.
Sure. But then the two of them, they are that age emotional emotional IQ.
The thing they have in common is these two fucking dopes are finding fame together.
Yeah.
Like, we're famous. Let's walk to the Christmas tree in Times Square. You fucking losers, the both of you. Like, they're just figuring out fame with each other because they're both such fucking losers. They're like, I think we should go to the Nick game. Yeah, let's go to the Nick game. I think Spike Lee does that. Like, such fucking posers, such losers, both of them.
And then they're both figuring out fashion together. Him in his 50s, her close to 30, are figuring out fashion together with Ralph's help.
Yep. That's a winning combination.
Oh, fuck.
For real.
Makeup on a normal day when I'm not working.
And guys, that was winning, not whinnying. Sorry.
But now I am aware that people will be scrutinizing me and may even be hiding in the bushes to take our picture.
In 2 years, they're going to do the same article, and she's going to be like, I can't believe I was with Howard. She'll be a star, and she'll be ripping you. Oh, he was so old. He was such a pain in the butt. I never wanted to
I'm sure she won't say a word.
I bet she wishes that now.
He make you jog with him? Who do they think you are?
I don't know.
Do you
look, man?
Does he make you jog?
He's confused. He's like, who do they think you are? And he's like, this is not. I don't know. Like, he is taken aback.
Abort.
Did not think this was going to go this way.
Well, he wants to make it known that he jogs, like he's some virile exercising guy.
Right.
Does he make you jog with him? No, I'm not a terrier. Like, he's not coming along with me for my runs like a dog.
When he runs, he looks like those inmates in the film Midnight Express when they're going around that pylon walking like a bunch of hobos.
But even then, guys, why would he...
Wiesel Knight. Like, doing laps in the yard.
That's awful.
It's so bad, bro.
But why? Like, he's known for sitting on the radio and talking. He's not known for sports. So why are they even asking you? Does he jog with you? That's like saying, does he take a walk with you?
Does he study? Do you play chess with him?
But it's just the weirdest thing.
If a fan did the interview, it could make total sense. But they're not fans.
Does he jog with you? He's not a runner. He's not a jogger. He's not in any competitions or marathons or anything. Who cares?
Right.
Does he go get the mail with you?
I don't make her do anything.
You feel charged with me?
All right, look.
Since meeting him,
Nobody's interested in this article.
You will forever.
really funny seeing people's reactions when they see him out running. The other day, these two guys had just passed Howard and were talking about how cool he was. Just as I drew level with them, one guy asks, "Have you seen his girlfriend?" And the other guy goes, "No, what's she like?" And the first guy says, "She's the all-American girl." It was so weird to hear people talking about me as I was running past them. Howard laughed when I told him. He keeps calling me his all-American girl now.
What a fantasy.
No one
Sam,
uses that term. No one in the last 30 years who's used that term.
Sam, I don't mean to corrupt you. I don't mean to corrupt you here. But Fillmore, in all years of hanging out with guys, two guys hanging out in New York City working out, has your friend ever turned to you and go,
"She's an all-American"?
She's the all-American girl. I've heard a lot of stuff, man. I used to do tiling in Humboldt Park with Cubans and Puerto Rican guys. I never heard anyone go, "Man, that chick is an all-American girl." Never.
You know,
Sam, before you go into it, no guy has ever said that.
Never.
Ever. This is a fantasy, a weird fantasy.
You don't have to tell me that. I know. The only time I heard American Girls, I'm looking at two dolls right now. They're called American Girl dolls. That's
Tom
the
Petty
only
song.
time they have a book series, and that's the only time I've ever heard that expression.
Never. Dude, she's the all-American girl. I've never heard that ever. What does that mean?
Let's say, for example, you might hear that from some old fucking 90-year-old duffer in Nebraska 30 years ago, but you're certainly not going to hear it from anybody living in New York.
No, you're not going to hear from anybody ever. She's the all-American. Have you seen Howard Stern's? If you know Howard Stern at that time,
here's what I will say.
So
I was listen to this. I was at a restaurant. They have this lounge area where they have all these old magazines from the 40s.
Yes.
And in a bunch of the write-ups about different celebrities, they say all-American girl.
Yeah, well, because it was a type. They say all-American. There was a type.
That was what they were saying, though. So that, to me, but that was from the fucking 1940s.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It belongs to an era he was born in, like the 50s, maybe.
You're not Don Draper.
Did you see that girl? She's got great stems. No. No one's saying that. No one's saying that. I mean, this is a fantasy. This is made up shit.
If I flash you guys my ankles, will you be offended?
Oh, you know what I would do? I'd be like, guys, I'm on a podcast. This chick's so hot.
Right.
I'd be like, really? What does she look like? She looks like the all-American girl.
I would so
Did
love
you
to
have
go
a
with
fucking
her.
stroke? What does that mean?
Was she raised on promises?
Yeah. She have a nice ass? What does
so love to
all-American girl mean?
Like, oh my God. Golly, that date went swell. Should we be playing that clip of the dating, like how to, and like that one from the 50s, the instructional one?
Young man, you're dating an all-American girl.
If you could go in for a kiss and she pulls away.
We're going to date steady. We're going to be steady.
Yeah, would you take my pin, my sorority pin?
Going steady for good.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is the actual, everybody, not to be sexist. This is the actual conversation between two guys working out in New York.
Right.
Hey, did you see that chick that Howard's banging? Yeah, I saw her. She's okay, right? Yeah, she's all right. That's the conversation.
Yeah, a little bit horsey.
Right. She's the all-American. No, it's like, she's like a 4. And then they just keep
Cincinnati 7.
Yeah.
She reminds me of a horse I bet on last week.
She's a Cincinnati 6, maybe. All right.
Fucking Lord.
Well, fuck it, then who cares? That's the actual conversation. I hate to corrupt everybody,
Well,
but that's what actually happened.
If All American Girl is a horse race, a horse's name in the Kentucky Derby,
Yes.
then sure.
Yeah.
That's where that actually applies completely. You're right. Broken down elevator is right next to All American Girl. They're neck and neck.
Lucky 7.
Half a plate of almonds is firmly in the lead. And here comes constipation down the stretch.
Could you imagine?
Yogurt and berries is trailing.
Lucky Charms is making some headway.
You know what I'm going to do as an experiment? Next time I'm out with my friends, I'm going to go, hey, man, I met a girl. They're going to go, oh, yeah? What's she like? I'm going to go, she shits once a month. She's an all-American girl. And I
really likes courtside
my
seats.
friends say, she likes going and she likes courtside seats. They'll look at me like I'm like I morphed into a cat or something. What the fuck are you talking about? All-American Girl?
You might as well fucking change into a butterfly.
Yeah. I will morph into a cat in front of them. And does she have nice tits? Like, what does any of this mean?
Yeah, this is like the Penthouse letter if it was written for highlights for kids.
Yes.
All-American Girl.
I said, it reminds me of this 1940s magazine that I was reading.
Yeah.
I was reading it. Jake and I were laughing our asses off because it's so misogynistic and horrible.
Fuck
It was just brutal. And, it's like every other ad was like diet pills and it's just like, do you not like, sign up for this thing to lose weight? And it's all about women losing weight. It's just crazy.
Well, here's so Sam and I, when you were in Greece, trapped out there, by the way, and we were trying to come up with a show. We were going to do the Baby Spice interview, right?
Yeah.
Total fucking. So this is why I want to segue and then we can get back into it. But Howard's whole thing is like, this is how people really talk. This is what guys really say. And you're like, guys don't really say this shit. So Sam's like sending me this interview and the audio wasn't loud enough. And he's like asking this chick, when did you get your first period? How many guys have you been with? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking like, have you ever been out with your guys and your friends like, dude, that chick is smoking hot? And you're like, yeah, I wonder how many guys she's been with. Who would ever say that?
Well,
I know.
Depending on the girl, you can kind of tell. But generally, these are things he doesn't have any human interaction.
And then
what
does
not
he
a
do?
gauge of hotness.
No, it
the
isn't.
guy she's been with is not a gauge of like how hot she is. Like
That's right. She could be she could be a complete pig.
Okay,
You'd
but
be
here,
like, oh yeah, her ass is slamming. No one ever goes, yeah, I wonder how many guys she's with or when did she get her period?
Okay,
she
but
she got her period.
Sam.
in retrospect, we know this, but at the time, how many of us listened to this every day and kind of thought that this was normal? So that was hard being a girl, because then guys kind of got this idea that this sort of thing was fine to say to people. Like, you can say these crazy things and it's totally fine. Like, it wasn't good for culture, I don't think, as a whole.
Not at all.
Oh, the Stern Show was awful.
Not at all.
Jeez,
that's why I'm on here.
I loved the show and I laughed. But then it also, as a woman listening to it, it makes you self-conscious of things that you don't even realize, that you start putting these things in your head. Oh, I have to be like 100 pounds and I have to, it's just.
You shouldn't, back then, you shouldn't have to explain to your friends when you phone someone back then and somebody found out you listened to the Howard Stern Show. It was almost like a dirty secret, like you had to defend it somehow and you couldn't.
Yeah.
And you try your best to go, yeah, sometimes I like the interviews, whatever. It's just like it's like Playboy. I like some of the interviews.
Well, I'm younger than you, but I found it that guys thought it was super cool that I listened to it, and women did not listen to it.
Yeah.
I didn't know any chicks that listened to it.
Yeah.
Hi.
You read it. Sounds evil.
Robin is putting a little spin on it.
Yeah, I think it was. These two guys were talking about me as I went by. She heard it.
I'm just reading the word.
Oh man!
Now he calls me his all-American girl.
And then this guy's going, "Hey, you're an all." I don't call her my all-American
I'm
girl.
just reading what it says.
You don't read it.
I don't call her that. I just wrote it, guys. Don't fucking get on me.
Yeah.
This fake conversation that never. I mean, this is like the Steele dossier. This is so fucking fiction.
Never happened.
Yep.
Never.
Oh, girl, where are you?
All right, I had enough of this article.
I was a B student. I had to study really hard, though, to get a B grade, but I was very popular at school. I was homecoming queen. Howard's mortified that he's dating the homecoming queen. He's so anti all that in school.
I wouldn't have been anti.
No.
Let me be involved.
That's exactly true.
That's actually honest of him. He is always the kid that wanted to sit at the cool kids table, the elite table. And now he's with the homecoming queen starving herself to death and shoveling cat shit on Instagram. And he gets to sit with Jimmy Kimmel and fucking, Katie Couric and Hillary Clinton. So cool.
Yep.
If you were dating the homecoming queen when you were in high school,
it would have been fun.
Yeah, I would have been. I would have liked everything if I was dating a homecoming queen.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Did you have lots of boyfriends at school? I always had a boyfriend.
Yeah,
I had serial boyfriends. In fact, this could be the first relationship I've ever had where I didn't have another interest at the same time.
See?
This is the honest to God truth. I have no interest in anyone but him.
I never cheated on. I don't cheat on Howard, but everyone else, he's special.
Yeah. Beep, beep. He is the only man for me. Beep beep. I've never seen anyone hotter. Beep beep. Program like malfunction.
And listen to this diatribe. So then you say all these frivolous things, and then you go into, this is the most committed I've ever been in my life. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're supposed to believe after this entire article that you're going to lay that out, and we're supposed to take you serious, Dear Diary.
Yep, pretty much.
What do you think of that? Damn. All right.
You've been in some small independent. Are you building up to launching a big movie career? I love doing movies, but it's not something I'm actively pursuing. You know what? I'd rather be in a soap.
This is right before she does that soap thing.
I'd rather.
So he took that and they ran with it, and they managed to get her in that whatever's All My Children or whatever the fuck it was. And I have the clip; it's on YouTube. But
horrendous.
Yeah, and it's awful. It's the worst acting you've ever seen.
What do you think of that? Like he's like combative, like he's selling it. What do you think of that? Yeah, we think it's bull.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be in movies. She's selling herself short, guys. She wants to be in soaps.
Everybody with ambition says that. You know what? I met with Jerry Bruckheimer, but you know what? I said, fuck that. I'm definitely General Hospital all the way.
For sure. I need to know what Lucky's doing this week.
Exactly.
I had a soap opera audition last week for Guiding Light. I haven't heard back yet, but I'd love to do a soap.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is you are talking about your relationship, simultaneously promoting yourself as, I am out there. I'm a shitty actress, so I definitely won't get in any movies. But there's some crappy daytime soap on Channel 2 at 11. I'm your girl.
Yeah. If
he's defending it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're trying to read it like she's retarded or something.
I'd rather do a soap.
You know what?
Artie's been in major movies.
Beth missed her opportunity.
Yeah.
Beth missed her opportunity to be on like a Real Housewives. If the Real Housewives was going on while this relationship first started, she would have been the first rookie cast for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What if the next question was like, hey, if you could just fuck Bruce Willis and be done with this whole thing, like,
would you?
What do you think? Oh, I'd be out of it in a heartbeat, but I'm stuck. This is the best I can do because I wasn't a real model and I'm not that good looking. So,
and I can't really act.
Sylvester Stallone decided to divorce his wife. He wants
I'm gonna
you.
peek at
Where are
a
you
soap
going?
opera. I'm gonna peek at a soap opera, I think.
Did you hear that about Stallone? Apparently, he impregnated one of his daughter's friends, and that's why the divorce.
Shut the fuck up. I thought it was over a dog. Wait,
No.
what?
That's the tattoo bullshit that they put out in the press. Like he had to change a tattoo of his wife's face and put the dog on there, and that's because he's going to lose half of what he fucking owes because she has 3 kids with him, and they've been together for gotta be like 25 years.
Shut up. He impregnated one of his. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would fucking lose it.
And I believe yeah, go ahead.
Let me inject you with 5 times the normal testosterone range and keep you there for like 30 years. You're gonna do some evil shit 100%, like without a doubt.
It definitely just shows you though how I always am fascinated by the fact that people look up to these Hollywood elites and they live such toxic, terrible lives. I mean, at least 70% of them do horrible things to their partners, their kids, their careers. I mean, it's nonstop awful behavior, but yet we want to hear what they have to say about this situation going on in the world. Who cares what they have to say? They're terrible people.
Yeah. And actually, you just reminded me of one thing. Let me see if I got it here. Hold on. I'm going to have to play this just for the sake, because we did bring that up. Yeah, Schneider stories. Okay, give me a moment. I'm going to put this together, and then
I'm going to run to the bathroom, but I can still hear it.
Okay, one sec.
Yeah, football. Wait.
All like the riots, I think he's sort of Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
And Seagal.
On you and his douchebag wife.
Okay, I'm going to play this because it's a Schneider story about working with Stallone and how Stallone cock blocked him in London when they were filming Judge Dredd.
I forgot about that movie.
It's such a piece of shit. So I'll play this while we're leading into it. Just because we were talking about Stallone real quick, I want to play this story from the Nick and Artie show that Rob Schneider told Artie. So it's pretty good.
Stallone story, too. And he's good at telling stories. He did the Judge Dredd with Stallone or something. You're going to think
Rolex in it.
Let me try to. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
so Schneider's in that. They shot it in London.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
So they were all at dinner one night, and Stallone's there. There's always like sort of skanky looking broads.
This is where we need Matt Reese, by the way.
It's strong metal. So they're all sitting around at a dinner in London, and there's like skanky chicks hanging around. And Schneider's like, he thinks he got a shot at one of these girls. She's coming on to him, and Stallone doesn't have any chick around him, which he thought was weird.
Right.
At the end of the night, Stallone says, you get some, we got an early call, thought it was 6 years. What are you messing around with that broad? She's no good. Get rid of her. Schneider's like, yeah, really? Yeah, it's a skank, but don't worry, we'll get better broads. Schneider's really? He goes, yeah. I get up in 5 hours. What are you doing? So Schneider blows the chick off. He goes up to his room. He gets some ice. He comes back. He sees Stallone, like in the hallway. And Rob goes, trying to make small talk. Goes, listen, Sly, thanks for the advice about that girl. Sometimes I get carried away. He goes, yeah, that's all right. He goes, don't worry about it. He goes, it's 5 a.m. I'll see you tomorrow. He goes, yeah, whatever. I might be later. Well, sometime. But you just get there. He goes, why might you be late? He goes, that girl? He goes, yeah, she's in my room right now. Stallone was banging her.
I love that so much. Judge Doom. Judge Dredd. I'm sorry.
Judge Dredd. I remember that movie.
It was so bad.
He said Schneider was a speed bump to her pussy. Anyway, see, he was a notorious fucking woman. Like he was just hitting it. He never stopped. He's been a cheating fuck his entire life. But now, this thing you can't quite get away from. So anyway, let's finish this one off, guys.
trust, or do people treat you like you're really dim when they find out you're a model? No, but I always feel like I have to validate myself. Originally, I wanted to be a teacher, and I went to college and studied English literature.
For 1 year, or barely a year.
English literature. Have you ever seen her in interviews?
Oh, God.
She has the vocabulary of
a 12-year-old.
I'm looking at my All-American Girl doll right now. It's so bad.
I like to make sure people know that because they do have that idea of a model. It used to bug me, but now I just think, well, I make a nice living.
Now, hold on. She's throwing it out there that she went to college. She's not throwing in that she left after a fucking year, never actually graduated, and she wants people to put it out like, oh, I'm an English lit major.
And by the way, the English lit major, your last year is your hardest year by far. So if you're cutting out after 2 years, that's some gen ed shit, and then maybe a couple courses. So shut up. And you're sitting here and you want the best of both worlds. You want the hot, prissy model who's dressing up in lingerie, calling you an actor, sitting courtside, and then you also want, but I'm dating this very intelligent human being who should be considered serious. Yeah. You can't have it both ways in this interview. You can't be this way and that way. And they're so stupid for putting this out.
Yep.
And I've experienced a lot. I lived in Greece and in Germany. I can speak other languages. And because of my modeling, I've learned a lot.
So
I was in Greece and Germany, and I spent a summer in Saudi Arabia, or maybe a couple.
A 5-year summer in Saudi Arabia.
Maybe a decade.
Como estáis, ça va, Beth? What?
Yeah.
we just gave 3 languages for you guys.
Well, here we go. So if she wrote it, she's an idiot because she's putting herself out there that she speaks these languages. That's not her. I think that's him because he said it on the air. We have the audio clip of him going, oh, she speaks fluent French.
She orders in French.
Yeah. And he goes, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
he's
really
very impressed by that. He's very impressed by his daughter who
speaks Spanish. She turns him on.
Well, yeah, because the nanny who was Spanish raised them. Of course they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
You weren't around.
Yeah.
Anything wrong with that?
No.
Yeah, say.
Do men try to get it on with you all the time because you're a model and it gives them bragging rights? Well, there's a whole lot of that she's a model, that's cool thing. Men do like it. I get hit on a lot. Being 5'10" with long blonde hair, I'm more obvious to people.
Yeah, she does get hit on a lot.
I love talking to people, and I enjoy men, so I don't mind guys hitting on me. It's flattering. But when it crosses the line, I'm up front and I say, I'm not interested. I have a boyfriend. But it'd be nice to know you.
Right.
This sounds like exactly like that propaganda 1950s manners video. Like, what do you do when somebody comes up to you and you're married? You say, no, thank you, sir. I'm taken. Like,
I'm spoken
he's like a chick. Like, how chicks like guys that have been pre-selected. You know what I mean? Like other chicks like this guy. So he's like, other guys. She gets hit on a lot. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You obviously, like, you're thinking like a chick, kind of. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like.
But it also sounds like, when people are, they're wedded, like what's it called? Pre-marriage, like they're not
betrothed.
Betrothed. It sounds like they're betrothed and they're supposed to be married, but they've never met each other until their wedding day.
That's
and
right.
they're supposed to be. Yeah, or like, back in the day in the royal family, you have to keep the bloodline. So you're marrying whatever diplomatic thing works for our country and is better for us, but you don't even know this person. It sounds like that. Like it's supposed to be.
Sam, does it not sound loving to you?
No, that's my point. It sounds like this is all conversations that you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
If it's not real.
He's got to add that one in there to make her seem as if she's desirable to others.
Exactly.
It's
like
all about presentation.
he's thinking like a chick. That's what I'm saying. Like, women like when other women like their guy. It's just the way it is. Like,
I
they
don't.
like that like they like knowing that their guy is desirable, and I don't think that guy is really like. If I'm with a good-looking girl, I know she's good-looking. I don't need to know other guys want to hit on her. But like, Howard doesn't think that way. Oh yeah, guys hit on her all the time. No, they don't.
The average guy or girl gets ripped jeans because they think it looks good, like pre-distressed ripped jeans because they think that style, they like it for whatever reason. Howard, I guarantee, when he buys pre-distressed boots, wants people to think that he's been on his Harley working, under cars, he's been fucking putting a solid day's work in, and these are his footwear of choice.
Yeah,
and
right.
He loves them so much he's kept them for forever. That's why that's what he thinks. It ain't just it is a fashion thing, but it's more subliminal than that.
But it's a mental thing across the board. It's the boots, it's the girl, it's the job, it's the
everything.
Kids,
it's
everything.
That's the sickest thing about this whole thing is he wants to be Beth. He wants to be a model. He
Absolutely.
wants to be
homecoming
people
queen
that
or whatever.
Like narcissists, people with true NPD, they project everything they want on that other person, and then they want to absorb what the other person's accomplishments are by proximity.
Yep.
So like, he wants all these things. He
Right,
wants to be the pretty girl. He wants to be desirable because he knows he isn't.
And this whole article is a triangulation of him. So it's a proxy to say something not just about Beth, but about him. And that's why, obviously, you're right. He obviously had something to do with this, because it's a sounding board for all things and all the boxes he wants to check that make sure we cover this point. I'm hilarious. I'm an actor. I'm sensitive. I'm a gentleman.
I can juggle 6 cats at the same time.
I have this 5'9" woman who gets hit on constantly, but wants only me.
Yeah. She's possessive of me.
Yep.
Right.
Are all your friends models? I don't have any girlfriends who are models. Actually, I don't have any girlfriends at all.
That I'm telling you right now, that is abnormal. That's a red flag. Absolutely.
Red flag.
Yes.
First of all, then how did you meet him? Because you just said that you were down in the dumps, most depressing time of your life, and you went to a dinner with a girlfriend who, by the way, later on we find out was a model. So what do you mean you don't have any other model friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then apparently those people broke your nose in an elevator on a casting call. Remember that whole fucking story?
I don't remember that. I'll have to bring that up.
She said, oh, is it cutthroat modeling? And she's like, oh yeah, I was running to a casting call and the girl shoved me into the elevator and my nose was bleeding.
She didn't break shit. She didn't break shit. And I guarantee if she made up that story, she heard it from somebody else and she did what Howard does and she adopted it.
Well, it makes her sound like she has a hard life.
Right.
If she was Bianca Jade at that time, she might have got punched in the face, because those stripper girls will cut up and they'll beat a chick up bad.
Yeah,
no shit. Cardi B just got found guilty for paying $5,000 to beat up 2 strippers who slept with their husband.
I read about that. That was funny.
No, she doesn't have a lot of girlfriends.
Even growing up, I had only one girlfriend. I was always friends with my brothers and with their friends. I feel more comfortable with men. I always have. That's the story.
There you go.
Especially when I'm on top of them.
That's the story. I don't have girlfriends.
She can manipulate guys like that. See, this is the one part where someone can make an argument to me about Beth. It's like, she's manipulative and she's predatory. She's preyed on guys before. Yep. She knows how to manipulate guys. Other chicks that hang out with her. Sam, you can verify this for me right now. Chicks know when other chicks are manipulative.
Totally.
They know that.
Yes, they do.
They know that. And they don't want to hang around those girls.
No.
That's a red flag for other women. They don't like that type of stuff.
There was this girl who used to hang out in our girl like group, and I smelled social climber all on her, just everything about her.
Mm-hmm.
And she did something shady with one of my friend's boyfriends, and then she was still coming around, and I just lost it. And I was like, you're a fucking social climber. I see right through you. I don't want to be near you. I don't trust you. I don't think I think you're hanging out with our group of friends because of whatever you think you're going to get from it. You're not coming around this.
Let me interject for a second. Whenever I hear about a chick who's like, I can't hang out with other girls, I only get along with guys, that's the first thing I think about is, okay, so other chicks have recognized certain patterns in you that they don't like.
That's right.
And you're able to fuck with guys' heads and manipulate guys. And that's why you don't have girlfriends, probably. Not all the time, but probably.
And do you notice, like, people, for example, Meghan Markle had no friends in her wedding. She had celebrities, but she had no friends. Hilaria Baldwin has no girlfriends.
Yeah, they smelled it on her. And also, she doesn't want competition. She doesn't need company for this. She needs to be a solo act for the grift to work.
But it's just bizarre that all of her, like, I read that Tom Bauer book, that whatever, and it just shows every decision in her life about girls were based on a transaction, kind of like men.
Right.
But
right.
You know, there's no women in their lives, these people. And Beth is, so when she says this, she's right. She is right. She doesn't have girlfriends.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all.
Yep.
I don't doubt it for a second.
It doesn't help that she's fucking annoying as shit. So that in itself would be a problem. So, but the other thing is, don't think guys
100%.
have their own kind of sense, especially when you get older. Like at the age I'm at now, I can walk into a bar and I can take 60 seconds of listening to just about any girl and figure out exactly what they're about. You don't even need that. Like, obviously, sometimes it's very obvious, but obviously when you talk to people, you get a sense of their confidence level. You get a sense of were they raised right? They got daddy issues up the wazoo. Are they, you know, like clingy? Are they needy? Are they all about themselves? Do they care? And it's how you see them interact with other people where the real stuff comes out. And that's what my wife and I are very good we're observationalists of people. We're observers of people where that's where you figure out the real stuff. And so
you do.
It's all about your gut, and your gut almost always never lies. If you feel something's wrong, you're probably right.
You are. And and when you just see it in black and white print like that whole interview, reading that is the biggest red flag I've ever seen.
Well, let me ask both of you guys, do you see now, after listening to it, what I was saying before, in that I believe Howard wanted that read, and that he maybe had a part in the answers, and that it did not go the way that he thought it was going to go?
I'll say that I believe he wanted it in print, and he wanted other people to read it, but he did not want Robin to read it on the air.
That's what I'm going to say, the same exact thing. I'm changing my opinion and saying exactly what Fillmore said. I think that he wanted it in black and white, and that it looked good on paper. He didn't have anybody else read it to him, and not in that tone of voice.
He did not want it mocked.
But he thought it was going well until Artie started laughing at him.
That's right.
And Robin started cutting up and going, bro, get the fuck out of here. Right. Like, that's when everything started going downhill. Because he was like, don't you guys hear this? Isn't this a good thing? Like, yeah, Howard, it's a good thing. It's a little too good.
Sam,
that's our problem.
Sam, you go get your hair done somewhere, and then you ask your mother, and she gives it a little. She says, "Oh, it's nice." And then you go to a friend, and she goes, "Oh, well, you changed your hair. Oh, that's interesting." These are words that are not compliments in this context. No, and you know it immediately. Right. And it would bother you because you think, well, I was stupid. I chose wrong. I should have thought better. I liked it. I don't know. I still like it. Or then you think, are you forcing yourself to like it because you've made the choice?
Okay, so then I'm also going to say for the Chevy Chase thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to rethink how I said this. The Chevy Chase thing, he initially thought it was good, right?
Well, he said he thought it was funny.
He said he thought it was funny until somebody else said it back to him in a way that nailed it. And there was no humor. It was just crass and rude. Right. So I think when Robin read that back to him, it sounds stupid, flaky, superficial, and disingenuous. And there's no other way to look at it.
Yes. And guys, for those of you who are new to the channel and new to the podcast, welcome, first of all. But you'll find that Chevy Chase coverage in one of the earlier episodes of Patreon with me and Sam. We covered it. It took about an hour, and it's excellent. It's a really, really good. It's as close as we'll get to what really happened and what was really said.
That's because I'm a comic, an actor. I'm brilliant. I'm funny. I don't shit. And
you don't have girlfriends.
I like courtside seats.
Actually, if I could interject, I don't shit. I'm an astronaut. I'm a comedian, actor, musician,
biologist,
songwriter, biologist,
Sherpa guide.
I do virology on the side.
Titan of industry in regards to insurance.
Yeah.
I'm saving the planet.
Yeah. I'm a master chef, I'm a sous chef, and I'm just a general burger chef. So that's who I am, guys.
Sorry if I left anything out.
If I
I apologize to all the.
I mean, I'm just human, right? I'm just human, guys. Like, I'm a normal guy.
You know
everyone
what?
loves me. Like, you said he's the perfect man.
Bob's the all-American guy.
I'm the all-American man.
I'll give you a perfect example. Johnny Carson had Joan Rivers on. They were talking about Christy Brinkley, and he called her the all-American girl. And she said, she said, something about
he said something like don't all guys are you talking about the punchline where he goes isn't that I think guys are more interested in brains or whatever,
and he goes nobody reaches up a girl's skirt and looks for a library card.
Joan says that. It's a great joke,
and it's
a really good line.
And it bursts the bubble of this facade that this is what you think about when you look at Christy Brinkley, the all-American girl who's so smart. No, you're thinking about fucking her.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not looking at what does she look like next to you when you walk into a restaurant, like Howard said many a time.
Yep.
Guys, I've worked. I did tiling when I was younger. I've been out with a lot of guys. I have never heard one dude go, and I've heard it all.
Yeah, and mostly crass shit.
I've never had a guy turn to me, and I work with Cuban guys, Puerto Rican guys. Like, I never had a guy turn to me and go, "That's the all-American girl." Never happened.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Listen to the way she said "actually" in the last quote. She went, "Actually."
Boy, I wish Mr. X would do Playgirl, so I could read the article.
We know you do.
American man.
He's the all-American man.
Well, I thought the interview was sweet.
I thought
it. Of course you did, bro. You wrote the whole fucking thing, man.
And you're not going to see Mr. X's hog, so calm down.
Well, the last bit, guys, it's a 30-second clip. It's Beth pissed at Robin for reaching FHM article in a goofy way, according to Howard.
Hey, listen, that reading Robin did about that in that magazine that your girlfriend broke did you no justice at all. She sounded like she was reading a child's story. Terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah, my girlfriend heard that, said, "Why does Robin hate me so much?"
That was the report around the office, by the way, too.
That's what everyone was saying around the office, that Robin was ragging on her.
I said, listen, that's the way we do things on the show, but she was...
I would have done that with any article like that.
Robin is jealous, Howard.
Okay,
She doesn't want you to be happy.
Done that
I'm happy.
Okay, so that's the end of that. But I don't believe Beth. I don't believe Beth said anything like that. I think that's all Howard. Go ahead.
That caller is right, though. You know when I don't know, like somebody comes in to read a story to kids, and it's like, "Good night, moon. Good night, moon. Good night." You know, it's that's exactly the tone of voice. Like she was reading to a group of children.
Yes.
One thing that got skipped over when Robin goes back in after reading the FHM, she goes, yeah, whatever. In reality, let's talk about some news. Do you know what I'm talking about? She's like,
she
okay, in the real world, let's get back to like you're total fucking phony, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
like Mr. Rogers when they, take the trolley to the Puppetville or whatever the fuck, and then it's like, oh yeah, let's go. Okay, can we get back to the real set with the guy in the sweater?
See, this is what I'm telling you guys. Like, I really thought, I think Howard really thought he was gonna fucking kill, man. Like, I think he thought I got this interview, man. I'm gonna cut up tomorrow. Everybody's gonna think I'm the man. Finally. And
he's that kid in $1 Million Baby, the kind of slow kid who gets beaten up by the one guy sparring, and then Morgan Freeman knocks out the kid with the one glove because he thinks he can fight. He wants to train. He wants to. You don't realize you don't belong here. Like you're not part of this world. Don't think you are. And that's
this is not how you go about it.
Yeah, part of the problem we're talking about wokeness is like. Guys, welcome to the real world where, a lot of times things don't go your fucking way and you're not the ideal looking. And most people they don't think that this is the way, most guys don't think like this. Most girls don't think like this. And, it's when you mess with reality, you can cause yourself some mental problems. Absolutely. You have to deal with things on a real level.
He's a greedy prick. This is what I'm saying. He's so greedy with his illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to have some basis. Like
yes.
And you were right when you said, Allison, when that marriage was over, that was his anchor to reality because, yes, he had to deal with a real marriage. Yes, he had to deal with real children and a schedule that included them. The second he got rid of that, he just became more untethered to reality and he started building this illusion and trying to sell it as reality.
Guys, I think we've done for the rest of this show. This is a two-parter for certain. Bob, thanks for hanging so much. And Sam, of course, it's a long one, but thank you. This was a long session, but it was definitely worth it. Any closing thoughts? Or delusions?
I'm gonna go take out my lingerie now and parade around and be tall and proud
for your man.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking I don't know, Master Chef, NBA player, comedian, why not, right?
Yeah.
Master songwriter, missing member of Tool.
You're the Bob of all trades.
The Bob of all trades. I have my hand in everything.
Chicago Swiss Army knife.
Bob the life builder.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much. Stay safe. We love you. Take care.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Pasta asciutta. I don't say pasta asciutta, I say pasticcio. That's what I say. He's a phony Italian, Paul. Who's a phony Italian? Yeah. Phony. Why, you're Napolitano? I'm Napolitano. Sure. You don't understand the Sicilian. Altovila. No, Era solo mano mangiata. Sì, ma te l'ha mangiata tu. Solo mano mangiata, ragazza. L'ha mangiata. È stupato di Santa Cappadocia. Tu la mano Cappadocia da Caccarone. È sto